Aesop stories. Number 56. The Lion, the Little Mouse, and the Sly Fox. In the heart of the jungle, under the hot summer sun, a lion lay resting, his mane spread out around him like a golden pillow. He was the king of all the animals, and his roar was feared by all. But the heat made him very tired, and soon he fell into a deep sleep. A little mouse, small and gray, was scurrying through the jungle. She was looking for seeds, but found a huge lion asleep instead. The mouse had never seen a lion so close. Curious, she ran up the lion's back, over his mane, and across his wide ears. The lion woke up with a start. He was not used to being disturbed during his nap. He felt something tiny had woken him up, and he roared in anger. He shook his mighty mane and looked around to find who dared to disturb his sleep. A fox, clever and quick, saw the lion looking for the mouse. The fox liked to tease the lion. He called out, "What a mighty lion you are, scared of a tiny mouse." The lion turned to the fox with a stern look. "I am not scared of the mouse," he said with a growl. "I do not like anyone to disturb my sleep, no matter how small they are." The little mouse, hearing this, felt sorry. She had not meant to wake the lion. She knew that even small creatures should be respectful of others, especially the king of the jungle. The fox laughed and went on his way, but the lion sat thinking about what had happened. He realized that it was not about being afraid. It was about the little mouse not knowing the rules of the jungle. Even the smallest animals should not bother the biggest ones without good reason. The mouse learned her lesson too. She knew that she should be more careful in the future. She should respect the lion's space and not take little liberties that could cause offense. And from that day on, the mouse always scurried past the lion's den quietly. She told all her friends to do the same. The lion, in turn, learned to be a little more patient with the smaller animals. After all, he was their king and had to set an example. The jungle was peaceful once again. The lion rested without being disturbed, and the little mouse went on to find many seeds, always remembering to respect the other animals, big or small. Number 57. The Jackdaw Who Wanted to Be King. In the great green forest, all the birds had a flutter of excitement. Jupiter, the king of the sky, had sent a message. He wanted to choose a king for the birds. He said, "Come to me on the mountain. The most beautiful bird will be the king." A small gray bird named Jackdaw heard this message. Jackdaw looked at his plain feathers and felt sad. "I am not beautiful," he thought. "I cannot be the king." But then Jackdaw had an idea. He flew across the forest and found feathers. These were not just any feathers. They were the most colorful feathers from other birds. Some were blue, some were red, and some were bright yellow. Jackdaw took these feathers and put them on himself. He stuck them to his wings and his tail. Soon he did not look like a jackdaw anymore. He looked like a rainbow bird. When the day came, all the birds flew to the mountain. Jupiter looked at them. He saw many beautiful birds. But then he saw the most colorful bird of all. It was Jackdaw. Jupiter said, "This bird with many colors will be the king." But the other birds knew the truth. They flew to Jackdaw and said, "These are our feathers." One by one, they took their feathers back. The red bird took his red feather. The blue bird took his blue feather. The yellow bird took his yellow feather. Soon all the feathers were gone. Jackdaw was just a small gray bird again. He was not the king. He was just a jackdaw. Jackdaw felt very silly. He had tried to be something he was not. He learned that it's not good to pretend. Jupiter saw this and chose a beautiful bird to be the king. It was not the bird with the most feathers. It was the bird who was beautiful just as it was. The birds flew back to the forest. Jackdaw flew alone, but he had learned something very important. He learned to be happy with who he was. Number 58. The Dog with the Bell. In a busy little town, there was a dog that loved to cause trouble. Every time he saw someone, he would sneak up behind them and nip at their heels. He thought it was a fun game. The people in the town did not think it was fun at all. They were scared of the sneaky dog. They never knew when he would come up and bite them. The dog's master had an idea. He put a bell around the dog's neck. Now when the dog ran up to bite, the bell would ring. Ting-a-ling. People could hear the dog coming and would not be scared. The dog did not understand why he had to wear the bell. He thought it made him special. He walked around the town with his head high. Ting-a-ling. The bell rang wherever he went. He was very proud of his bell. He thought it made him important. He did not know it was a warning for people to stay away. One day, an old wise dog saw the noisy dog. He knew why the dog had the bell. He said to him, "Why do you show off with that bell? It is not a prize. It tells people you are not nice. It is there so they can avoid you." The noisy dog was shocked. He thought his bell was a sign of being special. Now he knew it was a sign that he was bad. He felt very silly. He had been proud of something that was really a mark of shame. The noisy dog learned an important lesson. Being famous for bad things is not good. It is better to be loved for being kind than known for being mean. From that day, the dog tried to be better. He did not sneak up and bite anymore. He wanted people to like him for good reasons. The people in the town started to like the dog. They saw that he was trying to change. They no longer heard the bell and thought of a bad dog. They heard the bell and thought of the dog trying to be good. The dog was happy. He had friends now. He learned that it is not good to be known for being mischievous. It is better to be known for being good. And the bell? It still rang. Ting-a-ling! But now it was a happy sound. It was the sound of a dog who had learned to be better. Number 59. The Shepherd and the Mountain Goats. In a small village surrounded by hills, there lived a shepherd. He had a flock of goats which he took to graze every day. One evening, as he was leading them back, he found some wild goats had joined his herd. The shepherd was happy. He thought, "If I can keep these wild goats, my flock will be bigger." So he took them home and put them in the pen with his own goats. That night, a big snowstorm covered the village. The shepherd could not take the goats out to graze. He had to keep them in the pen. He gave a little food to his own goats, just enough to live. But the wild goats he fed well. He wanted them to stay with him. After some days, the snow melted. The shepherd took the goats out to the hills again. As soon as they were free, the wild goats ran away to the mountains. They were very fast. The shepherd was angry. "Why do you leave?" he shouted. "I fed you better than my own goats." One wild goat stopped and looked back. "That is why we leave," he said. "You took care of us more than your own goats. If new goats come, maybe you will forget us too. We cannot trust you." The shepherd stood there and watched the wild goats go. He was sad and sorry. He understood what the wild goat said. The shepherd learned that he should not forget old friends for new ones. His own goats had been with him for a long time. He should have cared for them just as much as the new ones. From then on, the shepherd was good to his goats. He never tried to replace them again. And the wild goats? They stayed in the mountains, free and wild as they were before. Number 60. The Tailless Fox. In a large forest filled with thick trees and whispering winds, there lived a clever fox. But one day this fox had a big problem. He was caught in a trap. He struggled and struggled until he was free, but his beautiful bushy tail was left behind. The fox felt very sad without his tail. He was different from the other foxes now, and he felt ashamed. The other foxes would look at him and whisper. They felt sorry for him, but they also laughed at him. This made the tailless fox very upset. He didn't want to be laughed at, so he thought of a plan. If all the other foxes have no tails, he thought, then no one will laugh at me. So the clever fox went to talk to all the foxes in the forest. He stood on a log and spoke loudly. "Friends," he said, "why do we need tails? They are just heavy. They get in the way when we run. I think we would all look better without them." Some of the foxes thought about it, but one wise old fox looked at him and said, "If you still had your own tail, Would you tell us to cut ours off?" All the foxes stopped and looked at the tailless fox. They knew the wise old fox was right. The tailless fox only wanted them to cut off their tails because he had lost his own. The tailless fox felt embarrassed. His plan did not work. He realized that he could not make everyone else like him just to feel better. After that day, the tailless fox learned to be happy with himself. He understood that it's not good to make others change just because you are different. It's better to be proud of who you are. The other foxes saw that the tailless fox was still clever and good at hunting. They did not care about his tail. They liked him for who he was. The tailless fox made many friends. He was different, but that was okay. In the end, it was not his tail that made him special. It was his clever mind and kind heart.